The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, on Thursday underscored the critical importance of the solid minerals sector in building a strong and diversified Nigerian economy. Addressing a public hearing on 12 bills focused on developing the sector, Tajuddin stressed relying less on oil revenue is not optional but essential for economic resilience and inclusivity. Speaking through House member Mark Hosseini, the Speaker described the public hearing as more than a routine procedure. He called it a vital democratic process that encourages wide public participation and gathers diverse perspectives and laws that will shape the future of Nigeria's solid minerals industry.
The bills to establish multiple federal institutes of mining and geosciences across various states, Garagu in Nasarawa State, Takum in Taraba State, Ikoro in Ikiti State, Akampa in Cross River State, Gusau in Zamfara State, and Umuahia here in Abia State are a testament to our commitment to building the intellectual and technical capacity required to harness our mineral wealth responsibly.
Wafi, Chairman of the House Committee on Solid Minerals, who echoed this view, emphasized that he exercised a strategic effort to reposition the sector as a pillar of Nigeria's economic transformation with a commitment to inclusive stakeholder engagement to ensure the legislation truly reflects the needs and aspirations of those involved.
If 10% of all what had been generated from oil in River State was being put as a community development association to develop River State, where do you think River State would have been today? So please, we must have a human face to all we're doing. It's not about when you have a situation in a community where only one person is rich and the rest are poor, that rich person is equally poor.
However, Honorable Chimaobi Sam Atu, representing the Enugu North and South Federal Constituency, sponsor of one of the proposed bills, expressed reservations about the general principles underlying the legislation, signaling ongoing debates within the House.
Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues, I feel highly honored to lead this debate on this bill that seeks to repair the Nigerian Coal Corporation Act, Cap 95, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and enact the Nigerian Coal Development Commission Act, HBCC7. The Nigerian Coal Corporation Act was originally enacted in 1950 to provide for the establishment of Nigerian Coal Corporation and for the transfer of all colonial undertakers of the government to the corporation. Mr. Speaker and my honorable colleagues, the Nigerian coal industry, which provide a chunk of country's revenue before and after independence, is now moribund, and there is a need to revive it. More so, this bill, when passed into law, will end illegal coal mining activities in the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, just 2 weeks ago, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Honorable Chief Uche Nnaji, signed 9 historical agreements with the government of Brazil. One of the areas of focus was the roles of coal in science and power sector. Therefore, the debate on this bill is timely. Ladies and gentlemen, some of these objectives of this commission are to coordinate all activities connected to mining, exploration, development, and utilize the coals in Nigeria, to explore the use of coal in the production of solar cell and other products, ensure the significant production of coal for generation of electricity and state development, carry out geographical survey, exploration, and discovering of coal deposits in any part of Nigeria, establish, monitor, regulate, and enforce health and environmental measures related to coal mining operation. Mr. Speaker, Nigerian coal deposit is estimated at 2.8 billion metric tons and will not allow it to waste or stolen. There is therefore an urgent need to revive the coal industry to enable us to generate enough power for domestic and industrial use in the country.
This hearing marks a significant step towards unlocking the potential of solid minerals as a key driver for Nigeria's growth and sustainability.
Good evening out there, everybody watching us, everybody on the sound of my voice, and welcome to the Afia Sports Review Show on Afia TV. Of course, this is where sports lives, pretty much, and you can get us on the frequencies, channel 748 Free TV, channel 254 DSTV, and channel 17 Go TV. It is great to be here to start the working week with sports, indeed. I mean, come on. What else do you want to listen to? What else do you want to watch? What else do you want to absorb yourself with other than sports, especially concerning what's happened over the past weekend? But no, let me not get ahead of myself. Let me introduce myself one more time for those who may not have the opportunity to know me. I am Sisi Emesebe, also known as Sisi the Rabbi, and I'm not doing this alone. I have I almost said partner in crime, but no, my hands are clean. No crime here, please. I have here the co-host, my co-host, the man. Okay, I'll be kind. I'll be nice today.
Okay.
The priest of football, the man himself, Femelo Emeka Madoka.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here.
Thank you for also being kind.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on, kindness runs in my veins. So I mean, what else do you expect?
Except from Thursdays, I guess.
Yes, I mean, you have a point. Thursdays, because Thursdays blood must flow figuratively. Please, by the way. All right, guys. So welcome to the show. We're going to run through the headlines for today on the Afia Sports Review Show. And the first headline, of course, charity always begins at home, and we start from the NPFL. In the NPFL. Unfortunately, since we're here based in Enugu, the coal city, 042, it is not my pleasure indeed to give you this result because Rangers International, the Flying Antelopes, ended up losing away at Kano Pillars. That's the Sani Abacha Stadium. Same Esugida were the ones that got a 1-0 win in that game. It was quite unfortunate. It was the governor, the man that they call the governor, the former, or should I say former? Yeah, former, because he's not the acting Super Eagles captain and he has not yet retired. So let me just say the former captain of the Super Eagles of Nigeria and current CEO of Same Esugida, that is Kano Pillars, Ahmed Musa. So he scored the goal, the only goal. And it was a beautiful goal. Build-up was very solid. And then from a very tight angle on the right flank, he scored that goal. And Rangers have to go back and get to the drawing board and find out what exactly is going wrong with their away woes. Because right now we have 2 away games and no goal scored, 3 conceded against Warrior Wolves and now Kano Pillars. But we'll get to that bit when we cross it. Then, of course, the second bit of news there, you have to talk about Kun Khalifat. Kun Khalifat are our neighbors, our fellow Oriental side in Imo State. But they recorded their first ever win in the NPFL after a 3-1 victory, in the NPFL. So it's something that happened over the weekend. So it's a historic one for them indeed. Getting that victory was key, was very crucial. So a 3-1 victory for them, the first win in their NPFL history, their first top flight win. So congratulations to Kun Khalifat. Then, of course, the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile that's kicking off. And the goalkeeper, the young goalkeeper who was part of the Chan squad, that is the ill-fated Chan squad in Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. I'm referring to none other than Ebenezer Harcourt, 15 years old. Yes, you heard that right. He's 15. He was also included in this squad for the Super Eagles, for the Under-20 side, the Flying Eagles. So it's a good one for him indeed. He'll grow into the team, integrate into the team, and if what he's been able to do in the Chan tournament and also in his club side is anything to go by, then you find out that he's going to last for a long time because the longevity of keepers is well known, well documented. So big congratulations to Ebenezer Harcourt. As we go to the business of the day, the NPFL, the Nigerian Premier Football League, we're looking at the 2025-2026 season, and it started. We're currently in Match Week 4. And Match Week 4 gives some results. I think, first of all, we have to look at those results. We've talked about Rangers losing away to Kano Pillars. Yes. But no, Emeka, let's read out the results for Match Week 4. I think we're about to have them on the screen. I hope they are visible enough. But, okay, let me call out the results. I think they're a bit small, but let me call them out. First of all, the early kickoff on Friday was Bendel Insurance. Now, Bendel Insurance, sorry, I beg your pardon, Saturday. Bendel Insurance got a 1-0 victory over Niger Tornadoes. Then Kun Khalifat, like I mentioned earlier, put El Academy Warriors to the sword by 3-1. And Nasarawa United beat Wiki Torres 1-0 in a Northern Derby, with Warri Wolves grabbing a goalless draw at home against Kwara United. Abia Warriors recorded a 1-0 victory over Katsina United. Then, like we said earlier, Kano Pillars, same Sugida, got the victory over Enugu Rangers International, that is the Flying Antelopes, 1-0, thanks to the governor himself, Ahmed Musa. And then Bayelsa United lost at home to Enyimba, the 9-time champions, most successful side in the Nigerian top flight. And then Plateau United beat a 10-man Remo Stars, the defending champions, by 2-0. Then Rivers United beat Shooting Stars by 1-0. And then Ikorodu City welcomed Barao FC to the NPFL with a 2-0 victory. So those are the results for now. And then we look at the standings, of course. On top of the log, which is where we're getting to the next point, we have Enyimba, who got a valuable victory away from home. Very rare so far after this match, 4-match week. So after 4 games, they have 2 games won, 2 drawn, but no loss. So they've gotten 8 points on top of the log, with Rivers United just behind them, but goal difference separates both sides. Then Warri Wolves, funnily enough, who just came up from the NNL, are 3rd on the log, with Wiki Torres 4th. Nasarawa United are 5th. Remo Stars, defending champions, are 6th on the log. Ikorodu City, Oga Boys, are 7th on the log. Bayelsa United are 8th on the log, with Katsina United 9th on the log. And Abia Warriors, the side that finished highest from the Oriental region last season, are currently, after 4 match days, 10th on the log. So they are the basement boys in the first half of the table. Second half of the table, place 11th, you have Niger Tornadoes, then Kwara United are 12th, Bendel Insurance are 13th, El Academy Warriors are 14th, Kun Khalifat, New Boys are 15th, Kano Pillars, same Eshigida, are 16th, and the relegation zone begins from 17th. And I'm not happy to say it, but it's just 4 games, because the league season is not a sprint but a marathon. Having said that, I know that you say that was in Cassiope, but I just hope it's not a business strategy. But the reality on ground is that in 17th place, after 4 games, you have Enugu Rangers International are 17th, then Plateau United are 18th, Shooting Stars of Ibadan are 19th, and Barao FC, no big surprises there anyway, but they are 20th, the basement boys in the team. Rebecca, it's still too early. There are 4 games that have been played, 34 to go. And now, please, pardon this smile. I'm just trying to keep myself. It's not a sadistic smile.
Yes.
Because I do not enjoy the woes that Rangers are going through. And for the record, we've talked about this before, that Rangers International, it's too early to press the panic button. We've mentioned this. We've talked about this along these lines. It's too early to press the panic button. But in as much as I will not panic, because I want to hear your thoughts, somebody said something once, and I keep on repeating that over and over again, that whenever you can't tell the team that will win a league title after the first 5 to 7 games, but you can tell the team, you often can tell the team that will not win it after the first 5-7 games, and this is 4 games, and Rangers are 17th on the log. Worrying times, ain't it?
I mean, it's very worrying times right now for both Enugu fans and those that there's the neutrals that just love watching club football. I mean, it's not good to see one-time defending champion. I mean, 2 seasons ago they were defending champions, and now it seems like the whole game plan has all gone down the drain. It seems that they've been going down and they keep going down. Building up from last season, the poor form continues into this season, and it's not something sweet to see. From an Enugu Rangers perspective, you don't want to see yourself down on the log of the table. You want to see yourself high up. I mean, after match week 3, it looked like they were turning things around. But now, where do we start again? Just 1 win out of 4. You have 1 draw and 2 defeats. It's not looking so sweet for the Enugu Rangers right now.
Okay, I'm not accusing you of being a harbinger of doom or pessimism, but at least let's try and balance it.
Is it too early to hit the panic button?
Yeah, no, we talked about the fact that it's not sweet. I for one, will say it's not too early to hit the panic button.
I might beg to differ. I mean, the earlier the better.
No, get the angle I'm coming from right now. Like we've said it over and over again, the league season is not a sprint, but a marathon.
Yes.
And just 4 games have been played. And if you check it, games are won, titles are won, top flight status is confirmed. I'm talking in terms of avoiding the relegation waters by the finest of margins. It's a game of fine margins, margins, and the margins are just too fine. You're looking at, for instance, Rangers. Rangers are 17th on the log, but they share the same number of points with Kun Khalifat, who are 15th on the log. They are just get this, they are just 2 points behind a 7th place Oga Boys, Igorodu City. 2 points. Oga Boys have 6 points, Rangers have 4 points. So what I'm saying in essence is this: it's all down to the goals. And like I always say, the double recipe for disaster if you're involved in a league season is leaking goals and lacking goals. If you're leaking goals, you concede goals, a problem. Rangers have conceded 3 goals. Of course, 2/3 of those goals that they've conceded came in one match, and that was against Warrior Wolves away 2-0. Then, of course, the other third came just yesterday, and that was against Kano Pillars. Yeah. So what I'm saying in essence is this: I think we need to cut them a bit of slack and wait and see after the first 5-7 games and see if they can turn things around. And how do they turn these things around? Make sure that the Cathedral is a fortress.
Yes.
It wasn't a fortress of Match Week 1 against Kun Khalifat. You could understand that a little bit because Kun Khalifat are our rental neighbors. And whenever a derby happens, sometimes you throw form out of the window. So that's the angle I'm coming from. But I mean, moving forward, I feel that Rangers International have to take their home game serious, make the Cathedral, Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium, unplayable to the guests that are coming so that the guests can feel harassed. I don't mean physically harassed, but intimidated. Then also make sure that you travel away from home and go with belief, with confidence that you can get something, a win or even a point, worst case scenario. So that's the angle I'm coming from.
Yeah, but, I mean, what makes champions isn't not starting off strong or starting off strong. Yes. What makes champions is, okay, you solidify your home turf, you make sure that it's unplayable, like you mentioned. At least if you're chipping in goals, you're giving out more goals than you're chipping in. That means you're scoring more, you're aiming to outscore the opponents, you're aiming to shut up shop, concede less goals and score more goals. If you find a way around this situation now and moving forward, maybe by match week 5, match week 6, match week 7, you're able to reduce the amount of goals going in and increase the amount of goals you're going to score. That helps you get yourself where you need to be. So right now, they've lost an away game. 2 away games. They've lost 2 away games, and they've drawn 1 at home and won 1. Now what they need to do is build up from that match week 3 results. Try not to concede and score as many as possible. And keep your players on form as much as you can. Because if these players are giving it their all and they are staying true to their form, they are not in and out of form, the form is consistent, they are going into matches, they are winning matches, they are conceding less goals. Who knows, by match week 8, you could possibly see yourself as first place from 17th.
Well, this is very important. We need to be pragmatic about that now. But this is just the angle I want to come from before we go for a short break. Don't you think this will be like a bitter pill in the mouths of Rangers players and fans and stakeholders? The fact that I don't want to call them bitter rivals, because the rivalry is there. The oriental rival.
They sit first right now.
They sit first. That's Enyimba, the Flying Antelopes, people's elephants. The people elephants are on top of the log right now. And then, of course, they got their win away from home at the Samson Siasa Stadium in Bayelsa. They got that in 2-0. They scored now about, I think 50 goals have been scored in the NPFL. They scored the 50th goal. And it's very important. That's what champions do. So perhaps they might just be a bit envious about them. But it's not about envy now. You have to find out what are these teams doing that we can do to get the results that we're looking for. Yeah. So I think it's just down to...
Actually, you just said it now. It's not about being jealous about where they are on the table. Okay, you want to use that jealousy. You have to use it to floor yourselves. Okay, if our rivals are sitting first on the log, we need to get the results right now and get ourselves back. Even if it's not first, we're tightly chasing them head to head. Second place at most.
Okay, even though there's nothing tight about 4 points separating both sides, but it's still relatively tight.
It's still relatively tight.
All the same, though, so we have a tight schedule anyway, so still talking about tightness. I'll be right back after this short break. We are going to move, of course, the mission is always to move from Jerusalem to all Judea to Samaria to the uttermost ends of the earth. That means we're moving from home to outside of the continent, because so much went down in the top European leagues, and I'm sure you don't want to miss that. Keep it locked on the AfiaSports review show and we are here. We're not leaving. So please don't touch that dial. We'll be right back in a jiffy. Welcome back to the Afia Sports Review Show on, of course, the home of sports as usual, Afia TV. This is Afia TV. You can always get us on the frequencies which have not changed. They're not planning to change anytime soon. Channel 254 DSTV, Channel 17 Go TV, and Channel 748 Free TV. Welcome back to the show. I'm still your guy, of course, Sisi the Rabbi, and this is Emeka Madoka, the priest of football. He's back here. And, banter is not for today. Wait till Thursday. So I'm being kind, like I said, very, very kind, from the depths of my heart. Anyway, we're going straight to the English Premier League, the EPL. We had some very, very cracking games, very important games in the EPL just this past weekend. And we're going to start from looking at the results of what happened in the EPL. First of all, the early kickoff on Saturday was Arsenal hosting Nottingham Forest. Arsenal defeated Nottingham Forest by 3-0. Nottingham Forest, of course, were being managed by the former Tottenham Hotspur manager, Ange Postecoglou. And he went there and, did what was always usual. He's only mustered 1 point against Arsenal away from home in his career in the Premier League since he took over Tottenham Hotspur. And that was a 2-2 draw 2 seasons ago. So it was not going to be very different where he got that defeat at the hands of Mikel Arteta. And surprising goal scorer, referring to Martin Zubimendi, we'll talk about that in a bit. Zubimendi grabbing a brace. The first was indeed a contender for goal of the week. And Vitor Gyökeres doing what he was actually signed to do, scoring. He now has 3 goals, Premier League goals in 4 Premier League appearances. Then Fulham beat Leeds United 1-0 at Craven Cottage. Crystal Palace could only muster a goalless draw at Selhurst Park. Then Bournemouth beat Brighton and Hove Albion 2-1 in the Vitality Stadium. Then Newcastle United defeated Wolverhampton Wanderers 1-0. It was Voltamada, the 6'6" striker from Wolfsburg, that grabbed the goal in that game, his debut goal in his debut match. Then Everton up against Aston Villa in the Hill. That was the first points that Aston Villa could pick from the Hill, Dickinson Stadium, the new stadium that they've called home. They've actually called home since Goodison Park is no more since last season. Then West Ham United in a London derby, not the London derby, a London derby, ended up being thrashed. 10-man West Ham United were thrashed by Tottenham Hotspur 3-0, and that puts a lot of pressure on the man, Graham Potter. Somebody called him Harry Potter. I don't know. I wasn't the somebody. So Graham Potter, 3-0. He suffered yet another damaging loss. Then Brentford against Chelsea. I think you should look away. Brentford-Chelsea 2-2
draw, yes.
Yeah, come a 2-2 draw where Chelsea grabbed a draw from the jaws of victory. Then Burnley, in a very shocking game, that was on Sunday, the first game, early kickoff by 2 p.m. on Sunday. Burnley, 10-man Burnley, huffed and puffed, but was not enough for them to keep Liverpool at bay, because Mohamed Salah scored a penalty in the dying seconds of the game, making himself the 4th highest goal scorer of all time in the English Premier League. First is Alan Shearer with 260 goals. Second is Harry Kane with 213 goals. Third is Wayne Rooney with 208 goals. And now the man himself, the Egyptian king himself, Mohamed Salah, highest scoring African, has now scored 188 goals. So obviously he's targeting club 200. It's not a matter of if, but when, if injuries permit him. So that's what happened there. Then, of course, Manchester City against Manchester United. 3-0 in the Manchester derby. The first. Now, please, pardon the smile. It's just reflex. Manchester City against Manchester United. But before we get to Man City and Man United, first of all, you look at the Arsenal game, because these are the 2 things that we just decided to pull out headlines. Yes. And there were similar scorelines, home wins, 3-0. The jury was out on Mikel Arteta, and this is a very, very subjective jury. It was out on Mikel Arteta and some of his players in that Liverpool game. Yeah, people were just saying all sorts of things because Arsenal lost that game. Quite unfortunate, because it was a game, just like Mikel Arteta said in the post-match interview at Anfield, said that game was the kind of game that was going to be separated by a defensive mistake or a moment of magic, and it was a moment of magic that sealed it, thanks to the man Dominic Szoboszlai. That's 34-yard belter of a free kick that he scored. But there was very little between both sides, and so. But now people have come back to earth, seeing what Arsenal are capable of doing. You saw Zubimendi, who grabbed his debut goals. And for the record, Zubimendi is not a goal scorer. He played more than 200 games for Real Sociedad. And in that game alone for Arsenal, he scored 17% of his total goal haul in the league for Real Sociedad in how many seasons? So that just tells you that it's a very rare thing. His first brace in his entire career, that first goal was beautiful. The second goal, also fantastic. A header from somebody who's not that tall.
Yes.
Then Gyökeres, Eze was just brilliant, squaring up Gyökeres in the middle, and that's what Gyökeres is there for.
That's the beautiful partnership building right there. I watched that match and I saw some key positives for the Arsenal side, where it wasn't clicking in the Liverpool game. They were able to get some ways around some things that were not working for them. I saw the movement between Eze, I saw Madueke's movements on the flanks, I saw Gyökeres' positioning in the box. I saw some key movements from Zubimendi, obviously, to get his goals. Also, before Martin Odegaard got that injury shout, he had some key passes that he made in there. The defensive setup was good. Ricardo Calafio was solid on the flanks. You had Timber doing his job as well. Gabriel and Mosquera, solid. It's as if Raya had nothing to do on the day, basically, because he only had 1 or 2 saves in both halves. So, it was a good outing for Arsenal at home there. Great to bounce back to winning ways after the defeat against Liverpool.
Okay, I want to ask this before we go to the other game that you're eagerly waiting for. I can see that you're salivating to get into that game. No, I can only implore that you have mercy. And this is not me playing good cop, bad cop. I'm a merciful person.
Be as merciful as possible.
As possible. I don't trust you. But anyway, that's aside. Now, William Saliba picked up an ankle injury, and we saw Christian Mosquera come in for him, and that was in the Liverpool game. And he was excellent, and the kind of baptism of fire that he received there, his first ever game in an Arsenal shirt, competitive game in an Arsenal shirt, was on one of the most hostile grounds in Premier League history, and that's in Anfield. Yet he gobbled up everything there. He took the centre, and it was as if Saliba wasn't missed. Then he put on, I think, a more excellent performance in that second game. I don't know. There are 2 players I want to talk about, because of course I don't want anyone to steal the shine from Zubimendi, but Zubimendi gets his flowers for grabbing 2 goals in that game.
Definitely.
But you look at the performance of this, first of all, Mosquera. What kind of selection headache will Mikel Arteta have when Saliba comes back fully fit? That's number 1. Number 2, Gabriel Martinelli has come under so much criticism, so much. One of the reasons being that he's pretty much a one-track player, one-track pony. That's one-trick pony and one-track player. That's what he's been. Shoot and follow. That's basically on that flank. Once you can predict him, you cage him, and then snuff out the attack offensive threat from him. But look at Ebenezer with his bag of tricks in that area there, reminiscent of a younger Trossard, for instance. I don't know. Would you call that one also a selection headache, or what's the handwriting on? What's the handwriting on the wall now for Martinelli? So those are the 2 questions I'm asking right now. How do you, if you are Mikel Arteta, handle the selection issue, particularly in the right centre back position, where you have Saliba as the first choice and Mosquera as second choice for now, and then you have that left wing forward issue. Eze is more dynamic. Martinelli, he's been there a bit longer, but something's got to give. So I need to get your thoughts.
Okay, when it comes down to the selection processes for Mikel Arteta, there's only one thing you need to look at right now, and that's his form and match fitness. Who is match fit? Who is on form? Okay, if both sets of players, and I'm talking about Saliba and Mosquera, are both match fit, you now look at who is giving more performances. Mosquera has hit the ground running, so that is difficult already to say, okay, you're going to stick with the Saliba. What happens on days when you know Saliba isn't giving it 100%? Do you opt for a Saliba over a Mosquera, who you know would hit the ground running if you give him the chance? So I believe this is going to be a case of you look at the opponents you're playing. It's not every game Saliba is going to start. It's not every game Mosquera is going to start, obviously. You're going to look at the opponents ahead of you. If you're sure these are opponents that can give you tricky or tough times, you could opt for a Mosquera, because Mosquera has seemed from his first game and his second game, that he can rely on pressure. Saliba 1 or 2 times in the past before has shown that he can crack under pressure. So you might want to opt with a Mosquera when it comes to high pressured games. That's for my opinion. I'm not saying that Mosquera is better than Saliba, but when it comes to the high stake games, I see maybe if Arteta really wants to solidify the back and shut up shot, you start off with a Mosquera, maybe bringing Saliba into the game afterwards.
Okay.
Then for the selection for Eze, I think it's very clear and cut. Martinelli hasn't really done much to deserve his first 11 shirt. If he's not on form and he's not giving in 100%, you don't opt because he's been there longer. Yeah. It's not about who stayed there the longest or who plays that place the best. Okay, now you don't have more options because normally you opt to keep Eze on the bench, maybe bring him in for Odegaard to play that cam position. But Odegaard has an injury now. You can now say, okay, do I opt to play him on the left or do I opt to play him in the cam position? If you opt to play him on the cam position, you still have a Trossard who can play beautifully well on the left. And if he's giving more performances, he's on form and he's giving him more great performances than Martinelli, I think the option is clear. Martinelli, until he gets himself ready mentally before doing the physical work on the pitch, I don't think he should deserve any starting anytime soon.
Okay, so I mean, we're just trying to employ constructive criticism here towards Martinelli. Not like we have any issues with Martinelli.
Exactly.
We are just functioning based on what we're seeing, what our eyes are revealing to us. Now, let's leave Arsenal for now. Move to the Etihad Stadium. The Etihad Stadium. That's the stadium. That's the place. Etihad Stadium. Somebody said in my hearing that Manchester City played against a Manchester United side. I didn't say it wasn't me. Don't quote me. Played against a Manchester United side that had 2 players. Yeah. Those 2 players were Mbeumo and others. Yes. Now, just give us a rundown on the game. All right. Give us a rundown on this game.
Sunday's games ended off with a Manchester derby. Yeah. But was it really a derby though? I mean, it's a derby, but was it really a derby on the pitch?
It was a derby.
Because it seems like it was men against Boy Scouts right there on the day. And no disrespect to Manchester United.
Not my words, for the record.
No disrespect to Manchester United. Just a little bit of banter, don't mind me. They actually tried their best. They did well on the night, but their best wasn't just enough. Man City were just too good for them on the night. They roadhoused them. It's common to see this in derbies. Like we said before the day, form goes out of the window and you show your class. And whoever shows the class better wins the derbies. Yeah. I mean, we saw it with Tottenham and West Ham. It went out to form and Tottenham won. But now, bringing it back to this game, there were defensive errors from Manchester United. There were also attacking errors that they made as well. Yes, you say that they are without the likes of Cunha, but they did have Mbeumo. They did have most of their starting 11 to their disposal. So you can't really up to give them excuses for why they couldn't attack as well. There were a lot of negatives on the Manchester United side, and I don't want to throw in more banter, but I believe it's clear that Onana was never the problem. The shape and the setup has always been the problem itself.
No, I've always said I'm going to find a way to dedicate a section, if not a whole show, to the defense of Andrew Onana, because I think he has picked up a lot of unfair criticism. But that's by the way.
Yes.
There are some things I want to point out right now, and when I point them out, I just need to hear from you right now, get your thoughts. Was it a case of Manchester City being exceptionally good, or Manchester United being exceptionally wretched, or a combination of both? That's what was bear that in mind, because I want you to answer. But my concern right now is, first of all, could this be a false dawn for Manchester City? Because this is just their second win of the season. They picked up a second win. Their first win was away from home. I think that was against Wolves 4-0. Yes. Haaland scored a brace in that game. And then that means the only games in which they've scored. Okay, fine. Yeah, they lost to Brighton and Hove and they scored a goal in that game. But Manchester City now, is this the kind of, they need confidence getting into what will be one of their biggest games of the season. By Sunday, they'll play against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium.
Yes.
And inform Arsenal. They need this bounce. And then, of course, Haaland grabbing his 50th goal in 50 home games in the Premier League. That was a milestone. He's there. He lives to set these milestones. But I have my own concerns about that. I know that Haaland is confident. He just got off the back of a very, very fruitful international break where he scored 6 goals in 2 games.
Yes.
5 in 1, actually. The one in the previous one there. Because I know it was just, was it Moldova or San Marino? I can't remember.
Yeah, Moldova, yes.
Moldova,
where
yes.
he got the 5 out of the 11.
Yeah, 11-1. But so, I mean, cannot further. But that's, I digress. The point is, are we talking about a case of a false dawn? Could it be that then another issue is this Manchester City side? I'm not going to dedicate much time to Man United because they were poor. They were poor. Everybody that was there, buying there, the goalkeeper, I mean, it was a collective thing. Luke Shaw, the late Lenny Yoro, Mazraoui playing at right wing back. Of course, Dogu, who has not really settled the way he should. People have issues with the fact that Ugarte started ahead of Casemiro, alongside Bruno Fernandes, the captain, Diallo and Mbeumo. Funny enough, some people give some very, very funny ratings on Mbeumo, whereas Mbeumo was one of those who had the chances and tried to convert them, if not for the big saves from Donnarumma. Then the man that is fast approaching 007 status, the one whose name will not be mentioned, 6'5",
Ben,
from Slovenia.
A certain Ben. I will not complete the name.
But he's approaching 007 status.
Yes.
Currently, he's on 005. I mean, that's a very, very infamous statistic to have. I think he needs to see a shrink so that he can hit the ground running. But what I'm saying is this: Manchester United, did they make Man City look so good, or is it a case of Man City finally turning the curve right now ahead of this big game this weekend, next weekend?
Well, I want to just hang on the fence a bit. Man City were not exceptionally good. I will not say they were exceptionally good. It's just that they did better on the night. Whereas on the other side, Manchester United were simply ratchet. The truth has to be said. The performances were a bit low power and far below par. I mean, from the goalkeeper down to the attack, nobody really put in much effort to get them into a better position. I mean, the defense let themselves down. The goalkeeper let himself down. The coach, with his setup, let himself down as well. And we did see comments from him saying that he's not going to change his setup. And that's how he's going to remain. That if you don't like the setup, you change the man. That was his comment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, when it comes to the case of Manchester United now, it's not just about the players anymore or the coach. The entire setup from the hierarchy and everything needs to go through a revamping.
So Man United, in your words, which basically reiterates what I've said for a long time, needs a systemic overhaul.
Exactly.
That's what they need. They or you could say that they know what they're doing, they don't know what's doing them.
They know what they're doing, but they don't know what's doing.
Let's just put it that way. Okay, Man United. I'm not laughing at Man United. I'm just being... Okay, fine. We'll just hope that things get right because it's looking so pathetic. It would have been funny if we were not pathetic. It is looking very pathetic. But no, because of time, we'll move to other important issues. Not to say that mine is not important, but we go to the UEFA Champions League. The UEFA Champions League. The Champions League. That is for champions.
A certain club isn't in that competition as well.
All these stray bullets. I'm not so stray bullets. Let's focus on the Champions League.
I live for this, but okay, let's get back to it.
Wait till Thursday. Now, the UEFA Champions League is back. The second season of the new format in the UEFA Champions League. Of course, some tips that you need to know about the new format in the UEFA Champions League. Like last season, it's a league format. The first phase is a league format with 36 teams involved. And it's broken down this way. The first 8 teams, after 8 games played, the first 8 teams qualify automatically to the next round, which is the first knockout round. And then the teams that finish from 9th to 24th are the teams that will then be paired and have a playoff to get through to that next round. And then, of course, any team that finishes from 25th to 36th, probably they'll go and play golf or croquet. They don't have any business with football. Yes. Or maybe just go on their early vacation, probably. That's what's going to happen in the Champions League. It happened last season. This time around, it's happening again. So the Champions League begins in earnest, and we're going to see some very, very big games from tomorrow. We're going to see games tomorrow being the 16th, Tuesday the 16th, Wednesday the 17th, and then Thursday the 18th of September. Athletic Club is going to play host at San Mamés in the Basque region against Arsenal Football Club. PSV, that is PSV Eindhoven of the Dutch Eredivisie, is going to be playing host to USG, Union Saint-Gilloise, That's the team that's going to travel there. These two games will be played by
Dortmund as well.
5:45. Sorry, come again.
Juventus hosts Dortmund as well.
Yes, I'm mentioning the times though, so that people who want to watch these games.
Yeah.
The only two games that will be played at the same time by 5:45 p.m. are the Athletic Club against Arsenal and PSV against USG. Then the 8 p.m. kickoffs, like you mentioned.
Juventus, Dortmund, we have Benfica, Quarberg, then you have Tottenham versus Villarreal. You have Real Madrid versus Marseille, you have Olympiacos, but that is on Wednesday at 5:45 p.m. against Pafos. You have Slava Prague against Bodo Glimt on Wednesday as well, 5:45 p.m. On Wednesday, by 8 p.m., you have Bayern versus Chelsea. You have PSG versus Atalanta. Wednesday, you also have Ajax versus Inter Milan, and you have Liverpool, who hosts Atletico Madrid on Wednesday's games. Thursday's games comprised by 5:45 p.m. Copenhagen versus Leverkusen, Club Brugge versus
AS Monaco.
AS Monaco, thank you. Eintracht Frankfurt by 8 p.m. will host Galatasaray. Sporting will play Krat against on that Thursday
the
as well.
Kazakhstan side are knocked out Celtic. Yeah.
Yes, then on 8 p.m. fixtures, we have Newcastle versus Barcelona, Man City versus Napoli. That is how the Thursday's games plan out.
Okay, so just selection rather. Let's look at, because there are 3 match days. Well, actually 1 match day, but 3 days. 3 days making up 1 match day, and that's match day 1. I want you to select
Key fixtures.
the key fixtures, 2 key fixtures for each day.
Okay, let's start off with Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday obviously has to be the Arsenal and Bilbao game.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you have the Juventus and Dortmund game. That's another crucial game to look at. So those are my 2 key fixtures from those days. Then when you look at if you add a third one, you could also look at the Madrid versus Marseille game if you would like to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was wondering anyway, let me not accuse you of the Barca bias. But go ahead.
Well, on Wednesday's fixtures, you will have to opt for a Bayern-Chelsea. That is the must-watch game on Wednesday.
Definitely.
Then you have the PSG-Atalanta game as well.
When no Lookman will be there.
You have the Liverpool-Atletico game. And if for fair merit, you have the Ajax and Inter game as well. Thursday has to simply be the Newcastle-Barcelona game.
Right, because of Automata?
No, I mean, you would like to see how Newcastle begin life at the Champions League. You would also like to see what Barcelona will do after having such a good campaign but fell short in the semi-finals last season. We would also like to see what Napoli and Man City will play right there in the Etihad. That's a key game. Kevin De Bruyne returning back to Man City.
I was coming to that.
So yeah, those are my key games from those days.
Okay, so predictions. Key predictions from the key game. Of course, no disrespect. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. So there are some games we're not calling. No need to call them. Because
Arsenal to beat Atletico Bilbao away from home.
Okay.
2-0.
Okay.
When it comes to the game for, I believe,
Real Madrid, Marseille, for instance.
Real Madrid straightforward affair there. And no disrespect to myself, but I believe Real Madrid should have a comfortable home game there. Maybe a 3 or 4-0.
Is it because, I want to assume, I'm preempting you right now, I want to assume that you feel that a fit Kylian Mbappe will score because he's used to scoring against Marseille in the Le Classique. That's between PSG and Marseille back then when he was still in the
I believe Mbappe will be crucial for Madrid on that night. I mean, I believe they will roadhouse Marseille. No disrespect to them once more again.
There was a lot of disrespect to them. But go ahead.
Sort of. But I believe Tottenham should do the job straightforward against Villarreal as well. I believe that should be, tomorrow.
Okay.
Then when it comes to Wednesday's game, PSG also should do the job against Atalanta. No disrespect to Atalanta, but they've been leaving out some key players like Lookman as well on their team sheets. If that continues, I see them having some problems there. When it comes to the Ajax-Inter game, I do see it as a straightforward affair for Inter. I see it as a straightforward affair, or many would like to differ with me, but Liverpool should do the job against Atletico Madrid at Anfield.
They just got back to winning ways. Atletico Madrid. But
I don't think the form is enough to match off with what Liverpool have done in the Premier League so far.
You've been trying to dodge the elephant in the room. Please go there straight away. That elephant, in fact, woolly mammoth in the room. I'm referring to Newcastle United, Barcelona.
Well, Barcelona should do the job convincingly on the night in the South. St. James's Park, yes. Okay. Maybe a 3-0 victory there for Barcelona.
Really?
A 3-0 victory for Barcelona. If there should be a goal for Newcastle, maybe 3-1.
You're very gutsy.
Yeah, I like that. I like to do that a lot.
Okay, the final one: Man City, Napoli, and I want to see the angle I want to come from right now. Man City, Napoli, very intriguing game. Man City need that boost after coming off the back of the Manchester Derby win, but they are meeting an old friend stroke foe in Kevin De Bruyne. KDB, it has hit to the ground like Napoli's ground like a duck to the water. And he's been very, very instrumental in taking
they're
Napoli
not only just meeting a KDB who has been hitting the ground very hard. They're also looking at the resurgent McTominay.
He's not resurgent. McTominay has been consistent since last season.
I mean, I'm building up from last season, a resurgent McTominay from last season, and someone who Manchester United deemed will not be fit for their squad this season, who backed 2 goals over the weekend.
I mean, of course, now Haaland. Rasmus Haaland.
So, I mean, this is a Napoli side who have 100% record in the Serie A. So they are going to be coming to Etihad. They are going to give it.
They have a Conte. They have
a Conte as well.
A Conte that didn't take them to the Champions League last season.
This is a Conte that will be hungry for the Champions League this season.
Okay.
So that is a very dangerous fixture for Manchester City there. Any complacency there, they might slip up, and I might just say I give it to Napoli. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Man City and Josep Guardiola, but I do see Napoli coming out on top in this game.
Okay, I guess we shall see.
Then one last giant in the room that I didn't address, which I believe I would like to see either a draw or a win. Okay. For Chelsea against Bayern Munich.
Oh yeah, how did that slip under the radar? Chelsea against Bayern Munich, a reunion of many sorts.
So I'm hanging on the fence. Is either a win or a draw for Chelsea.
How many goals for Jackson? Because one thing is almost certain, some things in life are constant: rain, taxes, death, and then Jackson somehow coming back to inflict injury on his employers.
If I'm to focus on the build-up of that game, no disrespect to Nicolas Jackson, I don't see him scoring on the night. Maybe Harry Kane or maybe Luis Diaz getting the goal. But I believe if it's going to be a draw, it's not going to be a goalless draw. That's what I know. Maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw.
It can never be a goalless draw if Chelsea's playing. That is certain. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages for the tail end of this, AfiaSports review show, because we are going to switch from football and go to other sports. Athletics, there's news in the athletics. Nigeria, I love this country so much, but sometimes on the forehand, athletics. Just stick around. You'll find out what I have to say about athletics. And then, of course, boxing. 2 major stories in boxing. You don't want to miss this. Stick around. We'll be right back in a jiffy. You're welcome back to the tail end and the grand finale of the AfiaSports review show on Afia TV. Of course, the frequencies have not changed. I'm not planning to change anytime soon. Channel 254 DSTV, Channel 17 GoTV, and Channel 748 Free TV. Welcome back. I'm still here, Sisi the Rabbi, and I'm here with Emeka Madoka, the priest of football. And of course, he's priest of football, so I don't know, but still he knows a bit more outside of football, which is why we're going to other sports apart from football, and we end this. Athletics. The World Athletics Championship is ongoing right now in Tokyo, Japan, the capital of Japan. It kicked off on Saturday the 13th and is running through for 1 full week. Actually 8 days, Saturday the 13th to the 21st. And I won't really call it shocking. It's not shocking because we've seen, he that has seen 99 is not afraid of 100. And some of us have seen the viral video on Snapchat of our very own Toby Amuson, basically lamenting and then yapping, like we say in this part of the world, and teasing the AFN, Athletic Federation of Nigeria, regarding the kits or the inadequate kits that were supplied to the athletes. We've seen that. But what is more shocking in this championship is the fact that there is no relay team. There is no 4x100 relay team for men, no 4x100 relay team for women, no 4x400 relay team for men, no 4x400 relay team for men, no 4x400 relay team for women. In fact, this is an allegation anyway. In fact, they have more officials than athletes. I don't know who did this to us. We need to correct this once and for all. It doesn't make sense for any way. How would somebody labor and toil and qualify for a tournament and then based on some technicalities, you don't go there? That was exactly how Nigeria lost Favour Philly. That's even one of the reasons you don't have somebody representing in 200 meters for female. So, I mean, it's something that needs to be looked into. We hope that those who are responsible for dragging Nigeria's name in the mud as far as sporting excellence is concerned face the full wrath of the law, because this is us being made a mockery of outside there, whereas I'm firmly convinced that there are very few athletes in world football and world sports generally, not just football, world athletics generally, world sports generally, that are as good as Nigerian athletes, naturally good. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense. How can you go for a tournament, a championship, and you don't have a relay team for the male or female, not even one relay team?
Well, I mean, the federation, the AFN have to look at this. It doesn't make sense, like you pointed out. These are measures you should have taken ahead of time to put in place the proper athletes that need to go out for whatever sports they are representing. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You don't have a proper men for 400, 4x4. You don't have for women. I mean, also losing favor of Philly, like we mentioned. Now we don't have a 200, a lady that's going to represent us in the 200-kilometer race there. These are things that the AFN need to look at and address. Okay, it's not just about, oh, we do this behind the scenes and do that. We have to make sure that, okay, if so and so player or athletes are not available for this position, we can find people who can fill out and have representation in those areas. Not that we just go out there and allegedly don't have anybody to fill out. And the alleged story that we have more officials than representatives for athletes, it makes no sense at all.
Well,
it doesn't show the seriousness of the AFN
it
at
doesn't,
all.
not at all. I mean, we've seen some levels of unseriousness in the AFN and all the athletic bodies that are involved in all this. They really have a lot to answer, if only the culture of impunity will not be tolerated anymore. But we'll get to that before we cross it. We're ending the show right now. First of all, big news in the super middleweight boxing match that took place in Las Vegas. Terence Crawford, the man himself, defeated Alvarez, that is Saul Canelo Alvarez. And of course, he's undefeated. He defeated him in Las Vegas and then won the fight there. And he's the first man in history to win become the undisputed champion of the world in 3 different weight divisions, from the light welterweight division to the welterweight division and now to the super middleweight division. Come in front of 70,000 fiercely pro Alvarez fans in Las Vegas, because funny enough, the guy came in first with the Marathi band, and then the Mexican fans were clapping until they saw that it was Bud, because that's his nickname, Terence Crawford. This guy and his antics, he went in there, and then let's not forget that, the Alvarez is Mexican from Guadalajara in Mexico, but it was just too much. Alvarez at 32 did his best as Canelo, but
no disrespect
this
to
guy,
Canelo,
Crawford is 37, and I know, yes, you say the weight division is super middleweight and he's not letting him go up to the heavyweight. Come on, you can't get up there. But 41-0, he's had 41 fights, I think 35 knockouts out of 42. No, 42 now. 42 fights, 42 wins, 35 knockouts. This guy is just the best in that division.
I mean, Crawford has really been wonderful. I mean, take no credit to what Canelo has done. I mean, he's been a wonderful fighter. He's been a wonderful boxer. But on the nights, he just fell short to Crawford. Canelo gave it his all, but the fatal KO, he was the one who took the fatal KO at the end of the day. And now, Crawford is the champion.
Crawford, I mean, big congratulations to Crawford. It was based on technicalities, and then of course the the scorecards made him out as the champion indeed. So congratulations to him. Still in the world of boxing, but this time around we end on a sad note. One of the big champions of the world, who was known as the Hitman and the People's Champion, RickyHatton, the born Richard John Hatton, died just yesterday. RickyHatton died. He was born in 1978, October 6th, so he would have turned 47 next month. But this is somebody who was a British professional boxer, who was named Fighter of the Year in 2005, and he was a light welterweight champion and a welterweight champion of the world. It was a big loss, not just to British boxing, not just to contact sports generally, but to the world of sports, because he was a very likable figure, very unifying, also training the young champions of nowadays. And it's going to be a big miss, especially for those who knew him well and who actually enjoyed watching him.
Those who are lovers of the sports boxing will actually miss him very well. I mean, it's never easy to see such a great personnel go down, but our thoughts are with the friends and families of RickyHatton.
Okay, so I mean, our hearts go out to RickyHatton and his family members, but all the same, we just have to do this, move one step at a time. Make sure you take care of yourself and look after yourself, especially if you're involved in sports, contact sports, because sometimes it can be detrimental to health. Thank you very much for being with us. It has been a pleasure being with you today on this program, which is Afia Sports Review Show on the Home of Sports, Afia TV. Thank you very much, Emeka Madoka, the Prince of Football, for being here. And thank you very much, our crew, everybody, the MCR, PCR, and then, of course, our floor managers that are here, even those ones who are flying a red jersey that they should not fly. But all the same, thank you very much. We'll do this again on Thursday. We're going to have the banter box, where it's all about banter. Boxing, figuratively anyway. Yes, bloodshed and blood and gore, figuratively. Please don't take that to the bank. Thank you very much. We're going to see you on Thursday by 5 p.m. Till then, remain blessed. I'm Sisi the Rabbi, and I'm signing out.